Welcome back to FTBL Culture. It's your boy CultureCams. We are officially 19 games into the season. So you know what that means? It's my half-season award show, and I'm gonna do it NBA style. So I'm gonna give you the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, the Coach of the Year, the Most Improved, the 12th Man, all of that. I can't wait to get into it, so let's start. So if you've been watching my content, you know I absolutely love the NBA. So much so that people will be messaging me saying, when are you gonna do NBA content? Listen, I'm on a channel called FTBL. That means football. I cannot do NBA content on here. But, however, I can do a crossover, and that way I'm going to do it with the awards. I absolutely love the way they spread their awards out. I think it's done so perfectly. And you compare it to the Premier League, who, okay, they do Player of the Year, they do Young Player of the Year, which goes up to the age of 23, which I do not understand. And sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of a popularity contest. I mean, you walk away debating it so much, but not debate in a way where it's like, this guy should have got it, this guy. You debate it like, what was the premise of that guy winning it? You know, you're a bit confused. So I think this is the best way of doing it in the NBA style. And yes, there's going to be some people saying, don't Americanize our sport. Listen, we're just having a bit of fun. Calm down. It's not that deep. Okay? So let's get into the MVP. So that's the most valuable player. Now, if it was Player of the Year, it could be different. But this is, for me, who the most important part of their team's success, should I say, who has been the most impressive and the most important to their team. So I'm going to give you 5 nominees. I'm going to start with Mitrovic, who's having a great season, 11 goals with Fulham, as Fulham are flying. I couldn't believe it. I looked at the table the other day and I saw they were 6th. I was like, what's going on? How are the team coming from relegation, well, from promotion, all the way to 6th place? Unbelievable season they're having. Alisson. Now, I know some of you are going to think, how can you mention a Liverpool player in this? Like, are you crazy? Listen, take Alisson out of that Liverpool team, and I'm genuinely thinking that we might be having relegation candidates this season. Who was my man in the past? Karius or these keepers, whoever it is. If you put them in the goal right now for this Liverpool team, I would be fearing for Jurgen Klopp's job. I mean, a certain man are getting unemployed. I'm telling you that now. Haaland. Of course, I can't do a video like this without Haaland. I'm sure you guys are thinking as soon as you heard MVP, Haaland is the shoo-in and is running away from it. But he has 26 goals and assists as this video is being shot. 50% of his goal contributions have contributed to what Man City have put down in the table this season. That is unbelievable. I mean, that is what you call impact. I mean, some people are going to talk about, you know, has he made his team better? Has he made his team worse? That's all up for debate, and I'm going to get into that. Casemiro. I didn't do that right. Casemiro. You know my boy, the real man. Of course he's going to be in here. If we're talking about how important a player is to his team, Manchester United, let me just give you a pretty picture. And I hope production put it up there. Man United lost 4-0 this season to Brentford. I'm telling you now. Ain't none of that happening with Casemiro on the pitch. I heard Casemiro, he called Ten Hag and said, get me to OT. I need to save these boys. And since then, Manchester United have only lost 1 game, drawn 3, and won 8. And we've seen his impact, only conceding 6 goals. I mean, the difference between a Fred, a McTominay, to a Casemiro, I mean, the gap is just absolutely massive. So his impact to the team has actually got Manchester United fans dreaming of 21. And lastly, I can't go this video without mentioning him in the MVP conversation. I think you guys should know who I'm talking about. It's the Norwegian, another Norwegian in this list, Martin Ødegaard. This boy has been absolutely sensational this season. I mean, there was time when he had his loan spell. People were saying, was it good enough? They don't know. Arsenal tied this guy down, gave him the captain armband after Aubameyang went off, and he has gone leaps and bounds. It's not just his numbers. it's his performances. He doesn't even have to put numbers down this season, and I'll be saying this is one of the Player of the Year. However, he's got 8 goals, which is a team high. He's got 5 assists, which is the second most on Arsenal as well. His overall contribution to team, numbers-wise and performances, have been different level, to the point where I feel like people are really going to start considering him as the Player of the Year this year if it continues. Arsenal are flying in the league. A big major reason of that is because of Ødegaard's form. So of these 5 names, of these 5 superstars, who am I going to go with? And I know you guys are going to say it has to be Haaland. But I'm going with Martin Ødegaard. I'm going with Martin Ødegaard. I just think, as I've just mentioned, what he has offered to this Arsenal team, who, by the way, people, come on, let's keep it 100. You thought Arsenal were going to be battling top 4 this season, right? They're first. They're flying. So I have to give it to the captain of the Arsenal, Martin Ødegaard. And just because I know people are going to say, but Haaland, he's going to break the record. I'm going to ask you, have City improved this season? There we go. And now let's get into the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, production tried to sneak in a goalkeeper in this list, but nah, I want to give it to the guys that are actually stopping before they get to the final line, the emergency line. I'm talking about right backs, left backs, centre backs, and the defensive midfielders. So in my list, I'm going to say the 4 names that I've got in here. And let's start with, we've just mentioned him in the MVP conversation, and that's Casemiro. Again, the impact that he's made, I don't need to get into that one again. I've just done that. 4th most tackles in the Premier League with 53. He has been sensational, and his impact to Man United and making Man United a solid team defensively cannot be understated. Secondly, this is the guy who easily could have been in the conversation for MVP as well, but I thought, let me just keep it to one Arsenal player, and that is Thomas Partey. He has been absolutely sensational for Arsenal, getting on the ball, turning out, passing, but not only that, defensively, he has made them solid. He marshals in front of the back 4. His partnership with Xhaka to allow Ødegaard to go and do what he needs to do is sensational. A lot of people thought Arsenal was set up in a pivot this season. He said, no, I'm going to be the number 6. Let Xhaka break on and do his box-to-box, and you can see the impact he has made in this team. He has actually not lost a game this season. Arsenal, as this video has been shot, had only lost 1 game in the Premier League, and that was against Manchester United, and Partey did not play. So it just shows the impact he's making defensively. And if you look at his replacement, Lokonga, I mean, no disrespect to him, but come on, there's levels to this game. Let's just keep it 100, you know? And the 3rd nominee is João Palhinha. What a player he has been this season, and he is catching the eye of nearly every club at the moment. If you're looking for a defensive midfielder who's going to come and do what it says on the tin for a defensive midfielder, tackles, solidity, he is the guy for you. There's links of Declan Rice moving on. We saw Basuma move last season. Caicedo's linked this season. This is a name that I think the top clubs need to be looking at, João Palhinha, and he has made the most tackles in the Premier League this season. 89 tackles. I mean, he's making life lovely for Tosin and these guys at the back. I mean, yo, if I have a guy in front of me making 89 tackles, I got a cigar out. I can play with my slippers on. Good recruitment stuff. I might have to come over to OT if you want, you know what I mean? We're looking for some recruitment stuff for real, because Ten Hag is kind of scaring me a little bit with his signings. Lastly, my last nominee is Sven Botman. Wow. This guy is coming to the Premier League like he's an absolute monster. He has made, I mean, Eddie Howe, which we're going to get into, he has been sensational this season with what he's done with Newcastle. But a big part of this is finding Sven Botman, who had a name. All Football Manager players know him. All FIFA players know him. He was one of them guys when it's like, when is he eventually going to get signed? Who's going to sign him? But you know, when these guys have so much hype, you start thinking to yourself, oh, you know what? They're probably going to come and be a fraud. This guy has lived up to the hype that he's had. 18 appearances, 12 clean sheets, the most in the league, 0 defeats, least goals conceded. This has to be the Defensive Player of the Year. This is my nominee, and it's Sven Botman. He is like literally, as I said, he's a frame. He's huge. He wins his headers. He's very good on the ball as well. He is just an all-round top centre-half. And you look at the amount of teams that are looking for centre-backs at the moment. If I was Liverpool, something, and I'm looking for a future partner with Konate, Van Dijk is getting injuries. I'm looking no further than Sven Botman. But Newcastle have the money now. They ain't no selling club, so it's going to be very, very difficult. So that is my 4 nominees. Guys, let me know who would be your Defensive Player of the Year. Mine, Sven Botman. Now let's get into the Coach of the Year. And I love talking about Coach of the Year because, I mean, managers are obviously so important to a football club. And there's been some teams that have made such drastic improvement on their seasons, where you thought they were going to be, the predictions, all of these type of things. And they just blow everyone away with how good they are doing. And the 4 nominees for me, Erik ten Hag. I think Manchester United, people are dreaming of a title. That's how well he's doing. Manchester United last season had their worst ever point tally in the history of the Premier League. They had Ralph Rangnick, they had Oli, they had all of these type of issues. It was the worst I've ever seen the club in my lifetime. And Erik ten Hag has come in within 6 months and made Manchester United so attractive, so interesting to watch, get big results, unbeaten at home against the top 6. It's unbelievable what he's done. And he's come and done it with such grace. And you consider the Ronaldo situation, the Sancho, the Maguire. There's so much things that he has to deal with. I call Man United Love and Hip Hop FC. It's the only club where you get so much drama. And he has handled it brilliantly. Brentford. What a season they're having. Thomas Frank. 7-game unbeaten run. They've beaten United, Liverpool, City. They've drawn to Spurs and Chelsea. They are earning that reputation of the old school Blackburns, the old school Boltons, where, hey, you don't want to rock up to Brentford on a random night. They'll get you straight out of there, man. That little bus stop in Hounslow. You're getting run out of Hounslow. Do you know what I mean? So that is down to the work of Thomas Frank. Big up Ivan Toney as well, doing his thing. Mbueno, Wissa, Jensen. They just come and they're ready to fight, man. They are ready to fight. Raya in goal. They are really doing their thing. So I've got to give a massive shout out to Thomas Frank. And the 3rd nominee, Eddie Howe. What a job that he's doing. What a job. I mentioned the importance of Sven Botman. That was great recruitment by Eddie Howe. I mentioned how good defensively they are. Who would have thought Newcastle would be this good? And I'm not only talking about this season. The whole of 2022, Newcastle were one of the best teams in the Premier League. And when they got picked up by Eddie Howe, they were fighting relegation. You know, he always made waves at Bournemouth through attractive style of football, you know, and eventually they just took a step too far and they ended up getting relegation. But I'm so happy that he ended up finding a mid-level job and now he's accelerating them. And now Newcastle are future juggernauts if we're going by the trajectory that their money should give them. But the job that he's doing so far should not be understated. He is the first English manager this century to go 15 games unbeaten. English managers need to pattern up. What is going on? This is England, and England have still not even had a Premier League winning manager. It's absolutely unbelievable. If it's going to be anyone, it looks like it might be this guy. So those are my 3 nominees. You know who I've left out. Arteta. Arsenal are flying, man. They're flying. It's the 5th best start after 18 games in Premier League history at the time of doing this video, of course. First in the league, flying. And I mean, I've done a whole video on Arsenal before, so I don't even want to go in again. But you guys know the rebuild job that he has done is one of the best rebuilds, if Arsenal go and win the league especially, in modern Premier League history. I mean, it's such a great job that he's done there. If we keep it 100, we all thought Arsenal were going to be fighting for the top 4. We thought, you know, maybe they might even finish 5th, 6th, who knows? Arteta's come in, brought in Jesus, Zinchenko, gave a new contract to Nketiah. The job that he's doing at the club at the moment is unreal. In Football Manager, his job security right now will be very secure. Spurs, the season where everybody said they bottled the title against Leicester. They won 19 games that whole season. Arsenal have won 15 games in 18 matches. It's unreal. Undeniably for me, as much as Eddie Howe is doing a great job and the guys that I've mentioned, the coach of the year is Mikel Arteta. And this is the MIP award, the most improved player. And you know what? I haven't got a long list of nominees for this one. This is a two-headed face-off between Miguel Almiron and Andres Pereira. I mean, Andres Pereira, of course, was a Manchester United player for a long, long time. Carrington boy. And I mean, that guy at Manchester United, it just never, ever got going. He done loan spells. He was a pre-season Pirlo, they call him. But when it came to actually making an impact for Manchester United, he just wasn't that guy. I've always thought he's been quite a talented player. You can see he has ability to his game. But sometimes it's all about finding that home. You know, you need to find that home, that the team that love you, that have a system that suits you. And of course, a team that matches the size of player you are. Manchester United are a juggernaut club going through transition all the time. And maybe it just was not the best environment for him. And if you look at him before Fulham, he had 2 goals, 4 assists in his entire Premier League career. This season, 2 goals, 5 assists in 20 games. That is a major, major improvement. And I'm very actually happy for him. You know, when you look at the fact, as I mentioned, it's a Carrington player, I'm actually very happy that he's found a home. His set pieces are deadly. As Fergie would say about Charlie Adam back in the day, hey, his set pieces alone are worth 10 mil. The way he be whipping those bad boys in, trust me. But I can't lie. I've been thinking about this one very, very, very closely. And I've got to give it to Miguel Almiron. I mean, listen, people. This is the definition of most improved. I mean, this is Bobo type improvement. The guy went from 1 goal, 0 assists in 30 games to 9 goals, 1 assist in 20 games. With a Player of the Month award too. Listen, whatever Grealish said, you know, the media love speaking about it. Whatever Grealish said, that put fire in his belly. I really hope someone out there says the same thing about Sancho, Anthony and all them, man, because trust me, we need it. Whatever he said has made Almiron come leaps and bounds. And now he's part of a top 4 charge. He's rejuvenated that Newcastle team. It starts to feel like everything that he does touch turns into goals or an assist or a magic piece of play. And one thing I love about him, he's really good to watch. He's positive. He gets from the ball. He has a nice touch. He dribbles. He has a good eye for a pass. He's just an all-round very good player. And he has definitely surprised me this season. Miguel Almiron, this is the definition. So he is definitely, for me, the MIP. The Rookie of the Year. I love this section because I love to see breakthrough talents. Guys that you weren't speaking about in the beginning of the season or even in the middle of the season, and they just come up and show people they are ready for first team football. It's honestly such a good sight. And so many times, these type of players give sparks to even top teams. Look, a lot of the top players, they're looking at this young, hungry boy trying to get into the team. And it makes them have to say, do you know what? I need to do better. I can't get shown up by a youngster, a little kid like this. And that gives me a perfect segue to the first player I want to mention, who is Rico Lewis, who has seamlessly slotted into the Pep Guardiola system, sitting next to Rodri in an inverted fullback role. Sometimes he's literally sitting in a pivot, playing in the DM role, knocking it around, going on the outside when he needs to, but mostly playing in this inside position. He has a great first touch, great control, great feel for the game. And Pep Guardiola said it himself. He has come in and added a hunger, a spark into a team that really need motivation. So shout out Rico Lewis for having such a good first breakthrough season. Secondly, I got to go with Garnacho. Alejandro Garnacho, who's about to sign a new deal at Manchester United. The guy has come in and been a spark, man. We all knew about him from Carrington. We knew this guy's going to probably make it. He looks a level above his teammates at the under-18 level, at under-21 level. And he has come in, he's got 1 goal, 2 assists in only 8 games. He hasn't had a full 90 yet. But off the bench, he's been such a spark for United. I mean, you're talking about that assist for Marcus Rashford for the winner against Manchester City. Or the last game just before the World Cup, the solo run to score, very Cristiano Ronaldo-esque against Fulham. That was fantastic at Craven Cottage. What a moment going into the World Cup. So big shout out to Alejandro Garnacho. What impact he's made, and he's going to have a beautiful future for Manchester United. But I want to talk about this one guy. I want to talk about this one geezer. Evan Ferguson. Listen, shout out to my Irish lads. They told me about this boy and I was like, all right, let's see what they got. You know, they've hyped up quite a few, man. The Irish always have a little talent coming through. But Evan Ferguson, he looks the real deal. Some people are saying they remind him of a young Wayne Rooney. Maybe that's a bit too far for now. But I'm liking what this guy is made of. And listen, I'll be putting in a cheeky bid in the summer. I'm telling you this now. If Alex Ferguson was still in charge, Evan Ferguson will be wearing a Manchester United kit next season. Let me tell you that. You know what I mean? But 3 goals, 2 assists in only 5 games. Only 2 starts, 0 full 90. Goal contributions against the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool. He just looks an all-round good player. He doesn't look like he's too phased about what's going on at the moment. It looks like he's literally just enjoying his football under De Zerbi, who seems like a great manager to play for. And well done to him, man. This is the definition of a breakthrough. Because I know Manchester United, Man City, you always hear about their talents, you know? You hear about Rico Lewis doing his thing in the academy. You hear about Garnacho. You hear about all these type of names. Patino at Arsenal and all these names that you hear. But Evan Ferguson, you just don't be paying attention. So for me, I have to put Evan Ferguson because it's just, again, this surprise factor. This is the definition of Rookie of the Year. And guys, if you did not know what my criteria for Rookie of the Year is, it's the first year of professional football. So Evan Ferguson, first year professional football, goals and assists, in big games, unknown quantity, easy does it. And just for a bonus one, little bonus round, you guys have heard of the 6th man of the year. You know about Lou Will. You know about Russell Westbrook this season. You know about the 6th man if you're an NBA fan. But we're going to call this one the 12th man. I know I'm not talking about the crowd. I'm not talking about the Ashburton army that's going on at the Emirates at the moment. I'm not talking about that type of 12th man. I'm talking about what player who should have started the season maybe as a bench player, you know, and come onto the pitch and now are starters, or have had to be called upon off the bench to make impact consistently and do so. And there's only one name that I can think of that have done it to a great extent, and that is Eddie Nketiah. Gabriel Jesus went down earlier this season, and there were some people thinking the title race is over. Eddie Nketiah cannot be part of the team like that are going to go and win trophies, you know, that is going to go and do things. But he has come in and he has scored 4 goals in January. He has been excellent for Arsenal. Arsenal haven't lost a game yet with Eddie Nketiah starting. So the guy has made such an impact, and I'm very, very happy for him because when he signed that new contract, a lot of people said, is he getting overpaid? Why would you do that for a backup striker? And yes, we know Gabriel Jesus is the #1 striker. When he comes back fit, he will start. But Eddie Nketiah is giving Arteta something to think about. His all-round play is improving. He's getting more involved in general play. His touch, he's scoring goals. He's just understanding what it takes to be an Arsenal player. And listen, he came straight from Hale End. You've got to respect it. Oh, well, some people are going to say he came from Cobham. Whichever one want to claim him, you guys can fight over that. But yes, he graduated from Hale End into the Arsenal team. I've always said Eddie Nketiah will score goals wherever he goes. And in my opinion, he's arguably, with Julian Alvarez, who's probably #1, he is probably a top 2 backup striker, if you want to call it that, in the Premier League. Fantastic, Eddie. And that is my 12th man of the year. And that was another episode of FTBL Culture. It's your boy, CultureCams. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this content. We are on the road to 20K. We are flying at the moment. We appreciate all the support. Make sure you turn the notifications on. That's so important. Subscribe, like, share. Share is so important. That's my key word today. Share. Make sure you tell your friend there's some great content out there if they are into football. Make sure they come over here, man. We're crossing over NBA. We're crossing over, I think soon I might cross over NFL. I might cross over ice hockey. Who knows? Shout out Gronsky or whatever my man's name is. Gretzky. I don't even know his name, but I'll learn the sport. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. It's your boy, CultureCams.